everybody back to the channel. Special thanks to everyone who subscribed. Today is actually the 1 year anniversary of the channel started. So we're going to take a look at one of the customs I've actually been working on. If you've been to the channel before, you'll in the custom tutorial sections on the playlist, you'll see a lot of work done on this figure here. This is my latest version of a custom Ultraverse character, Prime, which now is in the archives of Marvel. Marvel bought the Malibu Comics and Ultraverse back in the mid to late 90s. They still have the access to use these characters, but they don't. I would love to see some of these characters come back in the comics and in toy form. As you can see, these things make great looking figures. I love the character designs they had in Ultraverse. The reason why I made another Prime in this first form, the very first one I ended up giving to a buddy of mine for a birthday present. Needless to say, he was pretty happy to get that as a gift. It's like, I love that figure. Hate to see it go, but I went to a really good friend. But afterwards, I need another Prime. Now, I did make the final form Prime, and I'm going to have to make another one of those as well, because a fellow Prime fan convinced me to sell that one to him, because I don't normally do commissions. I just usually make customs for myself. But after talking to him a while, he's as big a fan, if not even bigger than I am, and now it's in his collection. And he was very pleased to get that one, and now I'm sad to see it go, but I'm glad it's in another Prime fan's hands. So, on to this one. Like I mentioned, there's a custom tutorials, tips, and tricks playlist. You can see a lot of videos of me working on this. Well, overall, I'm really happy how this one turned out. This is my third go at making Prime. I've added a few extra things to this one. For the hands, they came from a 1/6 scale Deadpool from the Marvel Legends. An eBay seller was selling it with minus the head and guns and stuff, but it had all the hands. No harness or anything, so all I wanted was the hands. So I got all the different grip hands. This one was actually for the burrito, but works great for like gripping other characters, like picking them up in the air. You can grab their heads. You got the thumbs up hand. You got two grip style hands. That's what was used for the guns and swords on the Deadpool. And two closed fists, which I have actually on the figure right now. On the previous versions, I actually thickened up the pegs, but since I had so many of these here, actually, the O-ring trick I used for the installing heads, I actually modified the wrist and dished out and put smaller O-rings inside there, so I can use these without any modifications. Makes changing the hands out so much easier and not have to worry about the pegs being too thick. As you can see on the Caliban, which the base figure this is for, those wrist pegs are too big for these Deadpool hands. They just too big a peg hole for the pegs. Speaking of, since I have the Caliban here, you can see the before and after. Big difference in the and after changing these things up. So you can see, like on the tutorial videos, I reshaped the lower legs, sculpted the flared boots, sculpted the chest armor. The gauntlets were actually, since I made the version 1 that I gave to my buddy for a birthday present, before giving it to him, I actually made molds of the gauntlets before I gave it to him for a birthday present, and now I can reproduce these. I'm still pretty new at molding and casting, but I think they turned out pretty good. And something else I did a little different too on this one, I covered up the peg holes on the legs and on the forearms. Both on the upper legs, lower legs. The only ones I didn't do was inside the boots. You don't really see it because of flare, so didn't worry about those. And on this one, I actually did different feet as well. But the other two, I used the Marvel Select Colossus feet, and this one I used the Marvel Legends Warpath feet, which are oversized for that figure, but work great on a bigger body like this. And for the heads, I actually have 3 this time. Before I had 2 different style heads for Prime. This is of course the enlarged Hyperion head. I resculpted some of the hair and built up the thickness behind the ears. But this is my base for all the different custom prime heads I've been doing. I made a mold I got Glassman Customs several years ago to enlarge these in preparation when I finally did build my prime, and life happened, stuff got delayed, which I'm glad it did, because then we got the good Caliban body to work from. As mentioned in the previous prime videos, I made a casting of this head. I used the Van Presto All Might, made a casting of that head, spliced them together, get a smiling face for prime, because he's known for a big grin. And on this final version, I made a angry face. The same method. I spliced in a Toy Biz Omega Red head casting, and I resculpted to get rid of the bands on the cheeks. So I have a angry expression for prime. So I have 3 heads in total for this one. I like different heads for different expressions, especially if you do a little bit of ACBA. And so, same way with different hands. Let's go with the angry head. And of course, all these have the O-rings inside. Have the seated O-ring. That's the best way I know to do resin heads and get that nice pop when you change out the heads. Now he's got a nice angry face when he's punching out bad guys. And for the cape, my friend that I gave to the other version to for a birthday present, he does vinyl signs and graphics and shirts. And I went in Illustrator and recreated the logo and got him to press them onto the capes. Love how these turned out. On the first version, I actually masked it and used a water decal, and which looked really good. But it's not going to be as durable as this. This is pressed onto the fabric. I actually got 2 of these capes and actually replaced the cape for his I gave to him with one just like this, because, well, he did the work on the pressing, so he basically got it back. I love these wired capes. It really adds to the figure. And like I said, these are attached with magnets. I can take the capes off anytime I want to, and it's magnets embedded in the shoulders and glued onto the capes. And if you have the Caliban figure, all the articulation's the same. Only thing like the other versions, I had to lose the boot swivel, because where it's cut weird, there's no way to do this flared style boot and keep that boot cut. At least with modifying, if you were actually going to make these, like if Hasbro were to make these, they could actually make the upper calf be a separate piece and plug into these boots. Until Marvel releases these other archives and lets toy companies like Hasbro make these characters, about the only way I'm going to get more Ultraverse characters and make them. And I've started, and I have, of course, Prime, I have Adam Bob, and I have several more in my work in progress stack. I have a lot of stuff in my work in progress stack. But as you can see, these Ultraverse characters make great figures in plastic form. I'd love to see these getting made, mass produced. I love the Ultraverse back in the day, and would love to see a resurgence of Ultraverse. At least the characters. They merged the 616 universe and the Ultimate universe together. I wish they could have brought in some Ultraverse stuff when they did that. Anyway, thank you again for everybody who's subscribed to us in the past year, start watching our content. We like to thank everyone for doing that. My buddy that does the comic books. We got some other friends that chip in and help in on the channel and stuff. From all of us from the Collector Express, thank you. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch y'all next time.